Whelan Presley Funeral Home and Crematory, a proud supporter of WQPT, has been serving Quad City families since 1889. They now have live stream capabilities for viewing your loved one's funeral or memorial service.
At IHM VCU, we've always been here for you. You are and always will be our top priority. We care about your financial and physical health, and we are here. IHM VCU is a proud supporter of WQPT.
A future with Amazon. And are you ready for changes in the job market in the cities? By the time the announcement was made, news of Amazon's plan for a huge robotic distribution center in Davenport came as no surprise. But it's still seen as a lightning bolt to the economy in the cities. After all, it's hard to ignore the impact of 1,000 new full-time jobs, a $250 million investment in Davenport, and an expected $148 million annual economic impact for the region. So how did this all come about? And what type of ripple effect is expected? We sat down with Quad Cities Chamber President and CEO Paul Rumler. Is this that big of a deal?
Jim, it's great to be with you. Yes, this is a big deal. This is the largest economic development project that we've attracted to the Quad Cities area in my memory. In the history of the Quad Cities Chamber, which is 11 years, this is by far the largest. And going back a few decades, I can't think of anything bigger. So without bringing 1,000 jobs to the area means a lot. Operation
Scrabble, as it was known, I mean, you do give some of these code words, I'm sure, when you're trying to attract a new business. Tell me how this unfolded, because you first got contact, well, almost like a Thanksgiving gift. It was back in November.
Yeah, so this project's been in the works for about 8 months, which is pretty condensed in terms of a timeline for an economic development deal. Typically, deals take 2 to 3 years to mature to get to a final announcement stage. What I found is that Amazon and their development team does their homework. And in the economic development business, we always say that our website's our best calling card, that so many businesses and site selectors are doing research on our communities without our knowledge. And that's what probably happened with Amazon, is that they knew that they wanted to be in a certain Midwest geography, and that they called us to talk specifics in November. And for that, it came down to, we want to be in your general area. They needed help on site selection in terms of what land was available, what sites were developable. They wanted help on workforce and trying to figure out and navigate how they could actually bring the project to fruition. So that took a lot of partners to make it happen.
Well, I mean, in real estate, it's location, location, location. That seems to be what you're kind of underlining, but they didn't have to pick this location. What do you think tilted it in your favor?
Yeah, I think Quad Cities was definitely on the radar screen, but what they're trying to do is get to their customers. So they wanted a really solid transportation network. And in the Quad Cities, we know we have plenty of interstates and access west, north, east, and south. So having a logistics warehouse facility located in a epicenter of transportation like this makes a lot of sense. They also wanted to make sure that they could get product to their facility. They also want to make sure that they could get workforce. Now, obviously, workforce is top of mind in every community right now, in every industry, and the Quad Cities is no different. So this is a problem that I'd like to have in the Quad Cities versus having it be discussed in some other community. So workforce is definitely something that there's going to be a little pressure on our market in the coming year as Amazon hires, and while other employers are also looking for talented people. But we're focused on how do we build more people in our region? How do we attract more people to come to the Quad Cities, which would then provide an ample workforce for existing employers as well as new ones like Amazon.
Well, I don't want to diminish the work that your team did and the city did and every one of your partners did. But like you said, it looks like Amazon pretty well already had its sights set on Davenport. So it's not necessarily the work that was done since November. It's all the work all of you people, your partners, the city all did before that. Because I think you were saying that industrial park really lured Kraft Heinz to stay in the Quad Cities as well.
Yeah, so the consistent story has been having ready sites that are provided as options. But first, you need to be able to market. You need to have your story straight. You need to have relationships among your partners so that way you can navigate the challenges that will necessarily come up during the process. And that happened again this time. So Amazon was looking in our area. It didn't have to be in our area, though. So we worked with them on a few options. The first option didn't work out. So we worked on a second option, and that option is the option that ended up landing their site in Davenport. And so it was really great that GDRC, the Greater Davenport Redevelopment Corporation, was able to get options on that property in advance of Amazon, and was able to turn that property over so quickly. Now and that we had utilities ready to go and all that. So there is a lot of early work that goes on, so that way you can be ready at the right time.
Well, and you were a part of the Chamber of Commerce, of course, when there was an Illinois Chamber of Commerce, and there was Davenport, and then there was Iowa. You know, I mean, it was all fractured. And it used to be that, oh my gosh, Moline just took a business from Davenport, or Bettendorf got something from Rock Island. Coming to Davenport is really coming to the Quad Cities when it comes to Amazon.
Oh, this is definitely coming to the Quad Cities. It's located at every business has to be located in a certain geography, right? Everybody needs an address, but they're going to be drawing workforce from across our region. We have a labor shed that stretches to Cedar Rapids and Waterloo and Dubuque and Galesburg, almost to Peoria. So we're going to be pulling people from a very wide geography to work at Amazon. But this is going to be a big lift because they're going to be living in our community. They're also going to be relying on companies to supply product and have relationships that exist throughout our Quad Cities area. So this is going to be a large impact. Almost $148 million annual economic impact is what Amazon will have in our area. That is above and beyond the $250 million that they're going to be investing in this facility over the next year and a half. So we're talking just in the first 2 years alone, almost $500 million invested from Amazon to be an influx in our community. And we are about a $27 billion economy right now. So this is going to be an order of magnitude that's going to be noticeable in our area. So I really think, going back to your first question, Jim, this is a big deal.
A big high-tech deal, too. I mean, let's be honest. You did say, look at the Arconics and look at Deere and Company, and these are older companies that are still investing in the Quad Cities, so they should not be forgotten. They shouldn't be thrown on the side of the road because something shiny has shown up. But let's be honest, this is a high-tech company. That's a big deal. And the second thing is, and I'm not exactly sure if I'm saying this right, but I think the Quad Cities felt a little slighted because so many high-tech jobs were kind of going to that Iowa City, Cedar Rapids corridor. Now it's here.
Well, I can tell you that when you mentioned the John Deere's and the Arconics, you have a lot of companies that are upgrading their equipment, and they're becoming more automated and more robotic. And so Amazon is no different. This is going to be a robotic fulfillment center. 1,000 workers are going to be working in a very large facility with a lot of automation. And so this is really about how we have a talented workforce that is skilled, knowledgeable, that can also deal with the new technology that's hitting just about every company. You know, we're a center of manufacturing and distribution, but it's not old school manufacturing and old school distribution. We have a talented workforce that can deal with the technology of today's era and be prepared for tomorrow, which is why companies continue to invest in the Quad Cities region.
The other thing that the Chamber is pushing all the time is not only, gee, we got a great workforce, gee, we got a lot of people here, but it's also a great place to live. And I know that's been a major push for all of the Quad Cities. And now that you have Amazon here, it may attract other companies to follow suit. And do you think the selling point is also the community and how it has come together and that its quality of life has improved dramatically?
Jim, it is the most important thing that we have to talk about. Companies locate where workers are, and workers locate in a place where they want to be. And so that's why investing in place matters, whether it be in our downtowns or along our riverfront or in all of our neighborhoods. We want to make sure that Quad Cities is the best. And I think we have a really great product right now that we can go out and sell and talk about. But that's why companies value the Quad Cities area. They know that they can recruit and retain their workers in the Quad Cities area because they love it here. How many times have you heard stories of people who aren't from the Quad Cities, they get here and they say, wow, I wish I knew about this sooner. I love it here and I want to stay. And they end up staying for a long time. So we're actually at the Chamber launching a talent attraction campaign here in the next few months. They're going to be out telling our story, making sure the Quad Cities brand is known across the country and beyond, to make sure that people understand the great quality of life and the fun things that we have to do here.
Now, Amazon has another distribution center not far away in Bondurant, Iowa, which is north of Altoona over on the east side of Des Moines. Have you been in contact with them? Do you know the impact that's occurred in that community that you can somehow expect here?
Well, they fulfilled their expectations there. So they built a similar size facility in Bondurant. They hired the similar amount of people at that location. And if you look at what happened around that facility, there's ample growth. There's additional facilities that have been stood up. So the impact has been beyond that initial opportunity. And we're very hopeful that that'll be something that happens here in the Quad Cities too.
And that's what I wonder, because you also said during your news conference that it's important to recognize the impact of Amazon, but it's also important for Amazon to make sure that perhaps they spread some of the wealth with some of the local companies. Instead of bringing in all this new business, perhaps businesses that are already here can benefit from Amazon as well.
Yeah, it's the Quad Cities way, Jim. We want to keep it Quad Cities, which means we want to be encouraging existing companies to work with new ones like Amazon. We've already provided them with a list of contractors and suppliers and vendors in the Quad Cities area that we're encouraging them to do business with. Give them a leg up, because we want to maximize that economic impact, and I believe that Amazon does too.
Well, I mean, I think you must be smiling since all the T's were crossed and the I's were dotted, and I would think that as a person who's in charge of the chamber, as well as your fellow executives, somehow think, wow, this is a huge gift. This is a great legacy for all of us that worked on this for the future of the Quad Cities. Is that the way you see it, is that this is a turning point and that people are going to remember, wow, this was the day Amazon came?
I think it's a major milestone in the Quad Cities story. I wouldn't say it's the watershed moment, but it's certainly going to be a day that people remember, just like some of the other past announcements. But I think we have some great wind in our sails and good momentum that we're going to carry forward. So maybe there's going to be another announcement, another deal in the next few years that we'll be talking about in the same manner that we did with Amazon, because I think the Quad Cities is a great place, and we're just going to keep telling our story. And we do have a great team, Jim. You mentioned that. I had a team that worked so hard on this project. I didn't do the majority of the work. Tammy Pesci, Julie Forsyth, Janelle Wolber are my teammates that worked extremely hard on it. But this is a proud moment for them. You know, we're only as good as our team members, and I have a great team in the Quad Cities Chamber. And we worked with some great team members at Davenport and GDRC and the state of Iowa to make this project a reality. So kudos to everybody that worked on it.
So do you have another Operation Scrabble that you're not telling me about?
We have right now upwards of 75 similar projects that are on our pipeline, Jim. We're a very attractive place in the Quad Cities, and we are working very aggressively on those projects to see how we can complete them in a similar manner.
Quad Cities Chamber President and CEO Paul Rumler. In a moment, the job market in the cities and what it takes to get a new job. But first, here's Laura Adams with some great ideas for you, your family, and your friends who all want to go out and about.
This is Out and About for July 19th through 26th. The 47th running of the Big 7 takes place in downtown Davenport the 24th at 8 a.m., while the Junior Bix takes place the 23rd at 6 p.m. The QC Senior Olympics kick off at Augustana College, the 25th running through the 31st. Plus, it's time for the 150th Rock Island County Fair at the Fairgrounds in East Moline on the 20th, running through the 24th. Each Friday, check out Mercado on 5th in downtown Moline, while North of 40 performs Thursday night the 22nd at the Bass Street Landing Summer Concert Series. Live at 5, Courtyard Series at RME features the Blackstones on the 23rd, and the Concert Series at Veterans Memorial Park presents Big River Brass on the 23rd. The Moline Township Activity Center Summer Concert in the Park present North of 40 on the 26th, while there's comedy with Brooks Whelan, who performs at Tomfoolery on Tremont. Timberlake Playhouse continues their run of Jesus Christ Superstar at the Mount Carroll Theater through August 1st, and Saturday Night Fever brings The Night Fever to Circa 21. Genesius Guild perform Euripides, translated by Ian Johnson, at Lincoln Park through the 25th, while August Wilson's classic The Piano Lesson graces the Playcrafters stage through the 24th. And finally, Lauren Gunderson's beautiful play I and You completes their run at the Black Box Theater on the 24th. For more information, visit WQPT.org.
Thank you, Laura. Lojo Russo says she's a one-woman show that shows you only need one woman. She joined us at Moline's Black Box Theater last year to perform one of her originals, Lojo Russo and Restless Soul.
There's a sign down on Main Street, attracts me like a moth to a flame. Illuminating words saying thank you, please come back again. restless soul. I've been here too long without a word or a whisper. Going, going, gone. There's a girl back in Boston remembers better me. When I took everything for granted and gave it all away for free. It reminds me of a time when I thought I could do no wrong. And like a fading photograph, it's going, going, gone. I am tired of running from all the lies that I've sold. Comes a time and a place when you stand face to face with the weight of it all. Your heart hits a wall. There's a side to the story no one has ever heard. It's a side that's the truth, and a side where no one gets hurt. I'm reminded that history is written by those who are strong, and like pages torn and tattered, going, going, gone. I'm gone. I'm tired of running from all my faults and regrets. Comes a time and a place when you stand face to face with the weight of it all. Your heart hits a wall. There's a sign up ahead telling me it's time to come home.
Lojo Russo and Restless Soul performed on the stage of the Black Box Theater in downtown Moline. The announcement that Amazon plans to build a Davenport distribution plant with 1,000 jobs instantly makes the company one of the area's biggest employers and one of the biggest high-tech investments in the region. One of the selling points of their arrival was the local workforce in the cities. But how do you prepare for a high-tech job? We talked with Martha Garcia Tampa from Iowa Works. Well, Martha, the big news, of course, is that Amazon is coming here, and one of the things that attracted them to the Quad City area was the workforce. And we talked to people with the Chamber of Commerce and people who were involved in the negotiations who said that this area can draw everywhere from Galesburg over to Iowa City to Fulton and Clinton, that it's a qualified workforce. Is that what we're seeing right now? I mean, Iowa Works has been very active in not only finding people jobs and finding companies employees, but also training these workers as well.
Yeah, Iowa Works has a lot of good opportunities for job seekers to prepare them even for a new career path. We have our Title I folks that can help them with training, with paid training, on the job training, getting an internship established, and getting a registered apprenticeship established. So there's a lot of good opportunities for training for folks going into new jobs or that want to have a career path change.
Well, in the Quad Cities, it's kind of interesting because when Sterilite came, there was a big push for training employees. Now we're expecting the same thing with Amazon. It's kind of interesting what's happening now because instead of a person starting at a job and then that company is there forever, these are brand new companies. These are really new opportunities for employees in our area.
It is a very exciting time. There are a lot of companies, and we try to work with all of the companies coming into our area to provide services so that we can have job seekers match what their positions are or the jobs that they're going to have. And so those are the services that Iowa Works can have and can provide to both the job seeker and the company so that they're prepared for the workforce and they're prepared to a new, community.
And Martha, I mean, this is very much a service economy that we've seen so much, but manufacturing isn't lost in the Quad Cities. I mean, we're seeing a strong manufacturing base that needs trained employees.
There's a lot of manufacturing facilities, and that's where we come into play with placing, job seekers in possible registered apprenticeship programs that can, get them ready with the correct on-the-job training together with the related job training in a classroom. So we are sitting pretty good in terms of, what we could provide to companies if they wish in this large manufacturing, predominant manufacturing community.
When you talk about apprenticeships, I think a lot of people think young kids getting into the business, but age is not really any restriction, is it?
There are folks out there that, may have worked in an industry for years or are retired and want to get a fresh start. So it's all age groups we're seeing getting placed in apprenticeships and internships, all seeking new opportunity. I guess that's the best way to say is that they're all looking for new opportunity and maybe something that they want to change in terms of a late career or an early start career.
And is that something you're seeing more and more of, is that people aren't really sticking to one job, sticking to one career? I mean, people are floating not only from company to company, but also from career to career.
Exactly. So they're stepping out of their comfort zone. I mean, we've seen all walks of life come in and say, you know what, I've been in the food industry for 20 years. I'm looking to go into the customer service area and maybe work, on customer service phone lines to marketing. So it's really exciting. It's really an exciting time because the jobs are there and the different and the opportunities of having people explore new options, new opportunity in careers and new opportunity in, pay. And it's just an exciting time right now because the jobs are out there.
I like the fact that you said getting out of your comfort zone. I think some people, me included, I mean, you got to open your eyes to different opportunities, and Iowa Works can actually help do that.
Exactly. And what we provide to job seekers is another great opportunity because the job seekers now are in the driver's seat as well, because if you come into our office or our center, we can provide you with how to freshen up your resume, get you acclimated with the job searches, and get you out in front of employers that are desperately seeking employees right now. And so, the job seekers, it's an exciting time for them right now.
You recently had a job fair, a drive-through job fair, and I think you were giving out, I want to say baskets, but it's not baskets, but you were giving out opportunities for about 60 jobs that were inside little bags. And you had a line of cars, you had a huge turnout right off the bat. What does that say about the Quad Cities right now?
It says that our community is very vibrant in jobs. I mean, there were over 2,000 jobs in that small little bag laid 2,000 jobs with 80 employers that were eager to announce that they are looking for good people. And more than, I think, 850 people drove through for these packets. So you can tell that there's a lot of excitement out there for workforce. There's a lot of excitement for our employers that want to see dynamic faces in their places of employment. So it is a really good time right now for both the job seekers and our employers because, we're booming. We're booming with jobs. We're booming with opportunity, which is great. And it's a win-win situation for all of us.
Well, and it's also coming off of one of the worst times for business, getting out of this COVID pandemic right now. How has that changed things? Let's start with the two different ways. How has that changed things from the company viewpoint as far as what they're looking for among employees?
So I think that with the recent pandemic, we've seen a higher need right now for employees because we're looking at, there's a time where employers, some had to scale back, some had to close doors, so we're looking at opportunity where, we want to come back, we want to thrive again. We want, these employers are looking to grow after a hard time. And I think that we're in a good position because the jobs are out there and the, potential employees are out there. There are job seekers that still are displaced and they're looking for a home to go, to work. They're looking for their opportunity. And so opportunity is out there and it's just a matter of reaching it. And Iowa Works has the most awesome programs to help with that, from the veteran hiring to, folks that want to change their career through the education components, all attainable by just being in contact with us.
And then from the other side of the coin, the employee, are you seeing people that, like we were talking about, being more flexible, that they want to work from home or that they want to have a higher wage because there are so many jobs and so few people? Are we seeing it? When you think of the housing market, you think of the buyer's market or the seller's market. Is this now the employee market?
It is an employee market, and you hit the nail on the head perfectly because we're seeing that potential employee that wants to try something new because they had a year of, hey, you know what? Maybe I could work from home. Maybe, there's a job out there because I feel comfortable working from home because I had to be home for so long. Or the person that's ready to be out there to look for opportunity and say, this is a good time for a change. So maybe go from manufacturing to food service, because I could tell you every industry right now, they're jobs out there. And if you're looking for a change or if you're looking for a good opportunity, you will find it.
And your services at Iowa Works are costly?
Our services at Iowa Works are at no cost to the job seeker and at no cost to employers. We help fit job seekers to employers. That's the good thing that we do. We get to know our, employers to see what they're looking for, what their needs are. If maybe there's opportunity, if there's on-the-job training for them, we can provide them the training at no cost to the employer. And at the same time, we can find a good fit for the employer with a job seeker that says, hey, this is what I want to do, and help with some of those training costs through our programs, or help a displaced veteran right now that maybe just came back from active duty, is looking for work. In our Home Base Iowa, we can match their resume. An employer signs up in Home Base Iowa database, and they get those veteran resumes directly sent to them. So there's a lot of neat programs. I encourage people to go to iowaworks.gov, to navigate our jobs, or iowaworksdevelopment.gov, to look at all the programs we have to offer.
Martha Garcia Tapa from Iowa Works. On the air, on the radio, on the web, on your mobile device, and streaming on your computer. Thanks for taking some time to join us as we talk about the issues on the cities.
Whelan Presley Funeral Home and Crematory, a proud supporter of WQPT, has been serving Quad City families since 1889. They now have live stream capabilities for viewing your loved one's funeral or memorial service.
At IHM VCU, we've always been here for you. You are and always will be our top priority. We care about your financial and physical health, and we are here. IHM VCU is a proud supporter of WQPT.